Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I'm trying to change my background at the same time and it's not letting me. So I'm just going to roll with it as we go. Um, Also from the Midwest, I love a strong, thick Midwestern accent, as you will hear as I'm presenting. I am here to work with Allie and talk to you about diamonds in the rough and how to recruit A-plus marketers from other industries and disciplines. Quick introduction of me, and then I'll let Allie introduce herself. I am Rachel McGovern, VP of Sales at Digital Remedy. We are a digital media execution company helping brands and agencies create efficiencies when it comes to costs, resources, and time. Over the last few years, our focus has been in the performance OTT media space and a product specifically called Flip. It allows us to report and optimize path to conversion from CTV impressions. So little shameless plug there going on. I've had the chance to meet with Allie a couple of times, and I'm very excited for you guys to hear from her as well on how she's created many marketing dream teams over her career. So Allie, if you want to introduce yourself.
Thank you, Rachel. Yeah, as Rachel said, I'm the VP of Marketing at Mynd, and Mynd is a consumer real estate startup who helps people invest in single-family rental properties. So mine started out in 2016 in the property management space, and now we've evolved in the past few years into expanding into buying homes, selling rental homes, mortgages, insurance. So now we're a one-stop shop for single-family rental home investing.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So I already told you before our first meeting that I stalked you a little bit on LinkedIn. I'm very impressed with your background and kind of your journey into marketing. So I'm going to let you kind of explain to the group on, how you got to the role you are today.
Yeah, so I came up with the topic of diamonds in the rough because I would like to think that I'm one of them. I have a very non-traditional background, as you mentioned, and so I love to talk about finding marketers from other disciplines because that's what happened with me. Someone took a chance on me. I started off right out of college. I did a program called Teach for America in Miami, and I taught English in Ecuador. So my first career was as a teacher. And then I went on to law school and I practiced for a few years in human rights and refugee law. And so actually, the way that I got into marketing, truth be told, is that I was a struggling nonprofit attorney. And I decided to moonlight doing some legal research and writing white papers for my friend's startup because I needed some extra cash living in the Bay Area. And I just loved the pace and the creative problem solving that I was seeing in startups. So I was lucky enough that someone took a chance and gave me a full-time offer and encouraged me to jump from law to marketing because I was just much better at it naturally. So then I went on to lead marketing teams at a host of different industries, different makeups, direct to consumer, consumer packaged goods. So I helped found a clean beauty makeup company. So it's an e-commerce company where you can order beauty products that are all clean online. And the Flex company, which is a periods product company that is really cool. And they're sold at Walgreens and Target and direct to consumer. And then I also led marketing teams at marketplace services companies like Upwork and Brightwheel. And then I ran the North American team at WeWork. And yes, the Apple TV show is extremely accurate. I highly recommend it as a good watch, a good binge. And now Mynd.
Love We Crashed on Apple TV, especially as a work user for many times over my career. So it's definitely worth the watch.
Nice. I
agree. So after even talking on our first meeting, I mentioned it's interesting that you have a law degree. How do you feel that's kind of helped you in your current role as VP of Marketing?
Yeah. So for a long time, I think that my legal background was kind of like something I wanted to leave off my resume because I was kind of like, oh, it looks like I've been so scattered when this is my third career. But over the years, I realized that I think every role is just a compilation of hard and soft skills. And we hear that a lot, but just to give you an example, many of the hard skills that you learn in law school transfer over quite well to marketing, even though you wouldn't think so at first blush. So for example, storytelling, obviously brand marketers especially need to be great at storytelling. And you take a lot of trial advocacy and courses in law school, and crafting that story in a way that would be compelling to a jury is also compelling to your audience when you're a marketer. So that helps a lot with brand marketing and PR. And then another skill that you have to learn in law school is making really crisp arguments and then backing them up with facts to support your arguments, right? And so that translates really well to product marketing, where you're making a point and then showing features, benefits, and proof points that back up your point. And then my mentor taught me this, but being a strong writer, I think, is the number one skill that every marketer needs to have, both to communicate internally and get your executive team on board with your ideas, and then also writing for your external audiences. So that's a skill that I look for in all the applicants to my team. And then, so those are the hard skills that I always look for, and the ones that translate from law. And then, I think you can learn soft skills from most disciplines. And a lot of times it's just your life experiences where you develop those soft skills.
Very, very true. So we've talked a lot about you, and I know that's not your favorite topic. Let's move over. Let's move over and discuss, how you've built out these teams of marketing rock stars. Give me some good examples of great hires that you've had, what you found insightful about them, and how they pretty much delivered to your expectations.
Yeah. So the reason I came up with this topic is because I've had a lot of people that weren't on paper, they weren't necessarily qualified, or their resume didn't directly map to the role I was recruiting for. Especially for junior level roles and mid-level roles, I don't confine my search to people who are in the same industry as the company that I'm recruiting for. So I will say the one caveat to that is if I'm new to the industry, for example, when I first started in real estate investing, you have to have a few senior people on your team who can actually help you get up to speed on the subject matter so that I can become a subject matter expert. But I'll share a few examples of people who I've hired over the years who didn't on paper look like they mapped to the role. So first, for product marketing, I like to find people with consulting backgrounds. A lot of time there's consultants who are really brilliant and have all of the hard skills that you need to be a great product marketer. And there's a lot of people in consulting who feel like they're ready to actually stay at one company and see the impact of their work come to fruition. And so they're kind of frustrated being in consulting and moving around. I love to poach those people and turn them into awesome product marketers. There's one woman in particular that I'm thinking of from my Upwork days. She was a data analyst for a specific vertical or category. And she ended up switching over to my team and moving up through the ranks. And now she leads marketing teams for startups as well. She is amazing. Another one I can think of, a great example, was a woman who at one point at Upwork, I was actually running the inside sales team. Never again, Rachel. I don't know how you do it, but yeah, for temporarily, I was running and building out the inside sales team. And I had this one rep who was pretty right out of college, an SDR. And I just noticed she was just so strategic, so smart, really insightful. And over time, as I gained her trust, she was just honest with me that she just didn't want to do sales. In fact, she hated it. But she knew our product and services so well that I decided to take a chance on her after I saw that she was a really strong writer, and I moved her over into a junior product marketing role. And now she's killing it as a product marketer, moving up the ranks. She works at Zendesk. So those are a couple examples for product marketing. And I have more. For my brand team currently, I have 2 women leading our brand team who previously worked in other industries outside of real estate. So my director of brand worked in entertainment before in Hollywood, and she was worked in script writing and comedy show concepting at Warner and TBS, or Comedy Central, I think it was. And then the other one was a fashion major in New York, and she worked for Net-a-Porter right out of college. And then for Compass doing real estate, luxury real estate, social media. And I pulled her over to Mind, and, you know, they both have this level of humanity and humor and polish and poshness they add to our brand that I couldn't have found if I was just looking for people who had property management experience, for example. And then I found most of my creative team at Urban Outfitters and Anthropologie. So
Interesting.
yeah, we now have totally different from real estate, but I found one art director there and convinced her to come on board. And now we have 4 based in Philly who all worked for that company. So they need to be able to know their role and be able to hit the ground running on day one if they're more senior folks, but especially for mid-level and junior folks, I think that smart people can learn the industry. It's more those hard and soft skills that they need to have coming in.
Yep, agreed. And also agree, sales isn't for everyone. It's a fun sport for sure. I would say that listening to that and the backgrounds, I find it very interesting to hear you talk about hiring from outside of the industry, only because in the many years that I've been hiring and managing teams, I always look within the industry for who I want to hire, who have an understanding of what we do and how to do it quickly. What skills, when you're talking to candidates, are you looking for?
Yeah, again, it's just a combo of hard and soft skills. So for marketers across the board, the hard skills you need to have, I mentioned writing, being able to lay out information in a hierarchy that makes sense and is easily digestible is really important for marketers. And then the other one that's a little bit harder sometimes to find is data analysis skills. So I don't need people who have, you know, computer science or data engineering backgrounds. I don't need you to pull the data. I don't need you to know SQL, but you can't be intimidated by data as a marketer, and probably similar to sales, right? And even the creatives, I really want them to be able to use numbers to tell a story and to show business impact so that we can get more budget and do more exciting things. So I think oftentimes, especially people who don't have quant backgrounds, confuse having quantitative skills with analytical skills, and they're not necessarily the same. You can have almost no quant skills. You can be unable to build out formulas in Excel and still have analytical skills, right? So I think that just making sure we don't conflate the two is really important. So yeah, writing and data analysis. And then as far as, go ahead, sorry.
I'm sorry, that was the hard skills that you were looking for in candidates?
Those are hard skills for marketing. And then for soft skills, I just look for people who are creative, who are brave enough to speak up and identify problems right when they see them. I think like with startups especially, we move at such a fast pace that you have to be able to just raise your hand and say, hey, I think this could be done better. And the best people are the ones who can also say, and here's my idea for how to make this better. So suggesting a solution in addition to being able to flag problems. And then another big one, we do what's called a conscious leadership framework here at Mind. So another one that we learned through that framework of developing leadership skills is being able to initiate constructive conflict, and then going on to have a really important, you know, you have at it and you stay above the line is what we call it. So everyone feels safe and calm and there's trust built. And so you guys can debate, but then at the end of it, the people, whoever's argument did not win out can still disagree, but they commit. So the whole group together can move forward and be aligned. I think that's another thing, is just being able to initiate constructive conflict is another soft skill. And then another one that's really important, especially as you move up the ranks, is cross-functional leadership. So being able to use your influence to work not just within marketing, but partner with other teams like sales or product or operations to be able to do joint efforts between marketing and those other teams. And so I look for people who who have practiced with that, not being able to build so that you don't have too many silos within the organization. So marketing isn't siloed off. So those are some of the soft skills that I look for.
That's great. I love the constructive conflict, disagree, but commit. I think that's just a fabulous way to end a meeting. You don't want a team of all yes people. You want there to be collaboration too at the end of the day too. Yeah. So your hiring process has to be interesting as well. Yeah. What are the expectations that you have when you're interviewing people?
Yeah, so I have built out a pretty, I think it's pretty non-traditional hiring process over the years. So what I do is I partner with the recruiting team and I make sure that the recruiter on any given open rec that I have understands exactly what I'm looking for and what I'm not looking for. And after that initial screen, I immediately ask for work samples from candidates. So for marketing, I usually for most marketing roles, I usually ask for a writing sample. So that can be, ideally it's work related, but if they don't have that for whatever reason, it can be even a Yelp review that you listed out or a personal blog entry that you've created. And I think you'd be surprised what people submit. It tells a lot about your just like command of the English language, your command of grammar, but then also just people send sometimes extremely inappropriate things. And I'm quite liberal on what I would consider appropriate at work. So I think that a lot of judgment is shown by what people submit as their work samples as well. And then I ask for one report or presentation that they've done in the past. And so here I'm looking again for those analytical skills and ability to present information in a concise way. And then one process document or flow chart so that I can see if you're able to do project management or kind of organize things operationally. And then it's different for creatives. For creatives, I mostly go off their portfolios because I think that your past work is very telling about your future work. So, and then I don't know about you, Rachel. I think one thing I still do that I think is a little bit controversial is that I still do assign a case study or project and then have for director level and above roles, I have the candidate present that to a panel of people. And especially lately with the hire market being so hot, I've had a couple of people drop out of the interview process because they didn't want to do that case study or project because they were just like, no, I have so many offers. I don't want to do extra work. And so, that's made me a little bit nervous the past couple months, but ultimately my best hires are always happy to do it as long as, of course, I don't expect free consulting work. I try to confine the project to 2 to 3 hours max total, all in, including prepping for the interview. So it's just like a small thing, but yeah, I don't, do you do case studies when you're hiring?
So, not case studies, but it's interesting when you talked about presentations. We do, because I'm hiring for sales roles, we'll look at them to present a product to us, not necessarily hear about what they're selling now. They can choose what it is. I'm not going to ask them to sell me a pen. I just want to see how they present and what their skills are, and personality. Does that come out when they're presenting as well? So we've done that.
Have you ever had somebody decline because they didn't want to do that part of it? I mean, for sales.
No, I have not had anyone decline. That's why I kind of, when you said that, I was caught off guard, because it really is just surprising that someone who would go that far in the interview process and then be tap, I'm out.
Yeah, I think, well, salespeople are very outgoing and marketers sometimes can be more introverted. You get a mix. So
just a little bit outgoing and introvert. For sure. References. Do you get references as well?
I do. I actually think references are really important, but I do it a little different spin on it than most people. So obviously people are going to line up references who are going to, give them glowing reviews of past performance and say, oh yes, this person's great. And most people use it as kind of the last step to make sure this person isn't a serial killer or something, right? Like not, like that they're not crazy, but I actually use it to say, hey, I'm planning on hiring this person. And so what were a few things that you were coaching them on that will help me be a better manager to them and help me set them on a growth trajectory, right? In and successful path right from the start, right out of the gate. And then people tend to be a little bit more forthcoming because everyone has things that they have to work on. And if the reference is just kind of like dodging the question, sometimes I'll even give them multiple choice questions like, of these three things, which one are they the strongest on? Or of these three things, where are they the weakest? And it just kind of forces people to
Conversation.
Yeah, it forces the conversation to open up more. Exactly.
Yeah, same here. I like to look at LinkedIn references again, but those are very similar to a reference that somebody gives you. They're always going to give you the best reference, but I also even ask for a customer reference because I want to hear from a client.
That's really smart.
Yeah. Yeah. So we talked a lot about hiring and references and assignments and all of that. You're looking to onboard somebody and train people who are new to this industry because you look outside the industry in some instances. How do you prep them and how do you onboard them? What are the first steps you want to take?
Yeah. So smart people, like I said, will learn the industry and what you're selling as long as you give them the time and space during those first few weeks to actually spend time kind of researching and doing homework on the industry. So I think that, and then the hard skills they should already have before they come in. So really you're providing context for the role and context on the company culture. And so it's really important to partner with like talent and culture, your HR team, to get your onboarding docs just really detailed and specific to the role. And I even like to, say, be as explicit as possible. Like, here's how I like to be communicated with. Like, this is an appropriate use of email versus this is the type of thing that you can Slack about, right? And that's different at every company. I don't know that there's best practices. Like, I've had our CEO now, if something is really urgent, he wants me to text him. Or if something needs to be documented and have final sign off, then I email, right? But then if it's an ongoing conversation, we use Slack. So I think all of those things can really help people onboard successfully. And then, just carving out time in those first couple of weeks where it's like, okay, this is personal study time. Like, go on the internet and read these articles about our industry to get up to speed and our competitors, something like that. So yeah, I think that's it. Just spending time building out an onboarding document and an onboarding process that goes above and beyond what talent and culture does, that's specific to your function.
Got it. All makes sense. Onboarding is key. Those first couple of weeks are critical for making sure you're setting them up for success, for sure. Once they've kind of moved past the onboarding process, how are you learning their skills or what new skills they need or identifying areas that they need to grow?
Yeah, so I love this topic. What I've found lately is that different people want different things in terms of career growth at different stages in their lives. So I always like to say, I like to hire people where work isn't their whole life. We want people to no one wants to work with people who their job is their entire identity, right? So, and then, I've noticed, especially I'm a mom, and depending on the stage of where my kids are at or what's going up with them, what's going on with them, I'm leaning more into work and want to be promoted and try to get, raises, promotions, all of that. Or maybe my only goal is to do good work. And I really just want to come and do my job and then be able to leave and have work-life balance because my kids really need me at that time. So I have one woman on my team. Frankly, she could be my boss. She's a better marketer than I am in probably every way, but she's a new mom. And so all she really wanted, the way I got her to come on board, was just say, look, like, I can promise you I'll never take credit for your work. I can create an environment of psychological safety. And I can assure you that you can have work-life balance to go and be with your baby when duty calls. So, sometimes that's the way to get the best people, is just to make sure they know you have their back. And then another fun thing that I like to do, I'm a big geek about personality tests. So at my last offsite, I did one. Myers-Briggs is a great one that a lot of companies use, or Strengths Finder, I've heard, or PI is another one, but I like to use the Enneagram. And so the premise of that one is that there's 9 personality types, and we all have an 8 personality type, and that throughout your life, if you're in a good state or in a bad state, you're kind of on the spectrum within your personality type. And so it's just a fun way to really get to the root of people's personalities, even outside of work. And a lot of times that kind of unveils some sides to the person that their colleagues might not have already known about them. So identifying dormant skills or passions that they have. And then you can kind of use those to assign stretch projects, or just give people kind of more team culture building projects that really light them up, or just things that will make them have fun at work. And so I find that knowing people's personality types really helps with retention.
I love that. I have done Myers before, but after one of our first conversations, I actually will admit I did the Enneagram test.
Oh, what number are you?
Shocking, I'm sure. I was a 3, the achiever.
Okay.
For sales, success, being known for being like great understanding of people, what they think of me. In fact, I was like, okay, I'm going to do this again, and again got 3. So I have a sales summit coming up at the end of September, and this might be some pre-work and some like getting to know each other. Like, what was your Enneagram number? But I thought,
this is so nerdy, but I actually have this book that we did at my offsite, the Enneagram at Work. So I highly recommend it.
I'm going to look for it on Amazon, but that was one of the entertaining things. And like to read about it, I ended up even paying for the 18-page report because I wanted to.
It's good. Well, I hope I get a commission, because they should really be paying me.
I will let them know. Okay, getting back into it. I find as of lately, it's really hard to hire. As you said, people come in, they have many offers. Where are you looking for your talent pool?
Yes. Okay. So it depends on what type of role. I always start with my network. So usually I just do a search on LinkedIn for whatever the role is. And then I see people who are first degree connections. And obviously I know somebody that I've forgotten about who's in my network. I'll reach out to them. And then I click on second degree connections for more like to expand the reach a little bit more. I also ask, I have a bunch of friends who are marketing leaders in Silicon Valley as well, or in New York or Chicago. So I often reach out to them. But for creative specifically, I'm always on Instagram. And when I find artwork of illustrators or video editors that I like, I just kind of flag it. And then I go back and reach out to those folks. And then I've had some success also on a website called Working Not Working, which is a creative, it's almost like a LinkedIn for creatives. And I think they were recently acquired by Adobe, and it's somewhat similar to like a Dribbble or Behance, but people post their portfolios up there. And so for visual creatives, it's really great to be able to see their work. So I search those. And then another place, like I mentioned, a woman on my team who used to be an inside sales rep, I like to recruit from other departments at the company. So sometimes if someone's a superstar, but just doesn't like their job in another function, I'll take a chance on them and bring them over. Sometimes I approach people who, when I go to industry conferences and I just like their vibe or think they said something really bold or smart on a panel, then I'll approach them and try to hire them that way. And then, I still stalk people on LinkedIn. And I actually, when we're having trouble filling a role, I'll actually make a list of people who I want my recruiter to reach out to. And then they'll use that same list and they'll make a lookalike list to find other people with very similar skill sets if the list does not generate any leads or any hits. So that's pretty much my, trying to think of there's
going up to someone at a conference and just saying, I like that.
Well, so you would do that because you're a 3. I am more just get their email and then email them or reach out. after.
That's what they have to go for. That's the best thing to talk about.
Actually, that's true. Maybe after a drink, when my Chicago accent comes out, then I can approach them in person.
We'll get strong at that point. So we're coming close to the end. I guess if you had one takeaway for those who are attending this or watching later, what would you say that is?
Yeah, I think the theme here is hire based on hard and soft skills. Okay. Recruit based on the hard skills, hire for hard and soft skills, and worry less about industry, because smart people can probably learn any industry. And I know that's very contrary to the way that you've been doing it. So I'm not, this is what works for me. I'm not professing that it works for everyone or in every type of team, but I find, for example, that B2B marketers can bring a lot of operational experience and discipline to a marketing team. And a lot of times they're kind of yearning for more creativity and a little bit more freedom in terms of what they can produce. So sometimes if I have consumer teams that I'm running, I can poach great people from B2B marketing teams. Likewise, if I'm running a B2B team, a lot of times B2C folks, like people who work at agencies or even in e-commerce or fashion or food or more of the consumer industries, they're often overworked and underpaid. So I'm able to pull them over by offering a little bit more security and growth pathing and sometimes a higher salary. So I would say, biggest takeaway is find people with the right combo of hard and soft skills you need and care less about industry.
Got it. I don't know if any questions come in. Let me check that. Doesn't look like it at the moment, which leaves me one question left I have for you. Mm-hmm. What are you working on right now with your marketing team? What are like some of the things you're looking forward to at the future at Mynd?
Yeah, so we're at a great inflection point at Mynd right now. We've achieved product market fit. We're growing like gangbusters. So now is the time for us to supplement the direct response advertising that we've been doing, like paid social, with some brand awareness work. So we're working on our brand strategy. And then I will be looking into targeted ways to drive brand awareness, such as OTT maybe, or so. Hey. So I will be
we will be in touch to talk OTT for sure, and all of your paid media. Great. Awesome. Well, it's been so great having this conversation with you. I'm super excited about this opportunity that you've been able to present to everybody about building out that successful sales team.